Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Lore Sports proudly brings to you the best racing podcast in the world. Now, here's your host, Lauren Leach, the color guy, Mark Allen, the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast, sponsored by the Corp Racing and Valley Gasket. Tim, Ben, and Carrie, thank you for all that you do for us. Much appreciated. Truly remarkable. Mark, episode 170, man. How are you doing?
How you doing, man? Hey, we got through Nashville, huh? Wow, season's ripping right along, ain't it?
It's ripping along. I tell you what, we already got the first 2 weeks in at Wisconsin International Raceway. We were over for the Moto America over at Road America. You can see me wearing the Road America shirt here. Man, there was a ton of racing. F1, IndyCar, everyone was racing this weekend, and it was a lot of fun, man.
A lot of fun. That motorcycle stuff, man. We seen things that we never could imagine, So and we learned a lot there too.
Absolutely, a lot. I want to give a shout out to Ty Feetzer and his family and everyone that was along that was kind of guiding us there and gave us a lot of information. Ty ended up racing over at the go-kart track there at Road America too, and I think I walked up to him and said, "You are one crazy blank," because crazy is the right word for it. I don't have another word for it.
Well, he doesn't need training wheels anymore. Yeah, that was quite evident. I mean, man, that dude could ride a motorcycle, man. We saw that.
Unreal. I also want to say my condolences, our condolences to Mike Eddy and his family and friends. What a legend of the sport. I just feel like every time we're coming on here, we're talking about losing someone. And Mike Eddy, someone that I admired. I remember him in the Good Wrench '88. I think I even have the recording on VHS. Yes, I said VHS. Some people listening to this might not know what that is. It goes into something that you call VCR, which we'll get into that at a different time. But I think I have a VHS of the American or the ASA race 1995 from Wisconsin International Raceway. And Mike Eddy unfortunately goes out early in that one. But what a legend of a sport that we lost just a few days ago, man.
He would always run the Milwaukee race. We'd see him come over there, and maybe even over to Madison. Hey, that was a big deal when a Michigan superstar would come over here. They stayed on their side of the pond most of the time. A lot of that stuff was before your time. But when Bob Seneker came over, and Butch Miller from over there, he'd come over here and at times was really unbeatable. Johnny Benson and Ed Howe. Those are some really names, but they stayed over on their side. I think that's where that state line challenge comes from up in Norway, because there was always a battle between Wisconsin and Michigan drivers, and now you got Carson Hocevar who won at Berlin last night, and thinking about going back there to that awesome facility. And so there's another Michigan driver coming up through the ranks. So yeah, there's a big deal between Wisconsin and Michigan drivers, man. It had some really super ones up here.
Yeah, sure did. So yeah, we're just thinking of the Eddy family, everyone in the racing community once again here. Man, but yeah, those days I go back and see some highlights and have some tapes of it, and there were some good times during that time when Mike Eddy and all the others that you mentioned, and there's many more. Tony Raines was racing in that series for a while. I think he won that 95 ASA race here at WIR. But wow, what a legend. I think he also, I don't know if he was the first, but he was interviewed on TV, I think, saying when you're back with the squirrels, you might get your nuts cracked, that old saying. So I know that was one of the sayings that they had on the memorial video that they put out. So that one always makes me laugh. A good memory of him.
Yeah, so they had a driver sign up over there at Berlin, and I got to meet him. We see him so many times, but down in Milwaukee, but I never get to see him. So I actually got to meet him. You would have liked his style. A lot of people said he drove like Dale Earnhardt. He was rough and tough, and and he even got the good wrench. 88 black 88. And and 7 championships. ASA championships to match, So, his style was, man, all out. He raced his car really hard, man. He was a hard charger.
Yeah. Just like I said, a legend of the sports, and we'll miss him for sure.
Hmm.
Well, man, we got Masyn Liedke coming on here with his brother Cadyn Liedke. So we got the Liedke brothers coming on. Masyn just picked up his first win at Wisconsin International Raceway this past Thursday with the Fox River Racing Club. So excited to have the Liedke brothers on. Been wanting to have them on for a while now, so a good opportunity to have them on. And then we're going to recap some news like we always do, and recap all of the racing, including Road America. They raced out there Saturday and Sunday. You heard earlier we were out there for that. So we got a lot to talk about. So why don't we head out to the hotline and bring on the Liedke boys?
All right, let's go to the hotline, dude. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, Cadyn and Masyn, thanks for joining us, guys. What an exciting week you guys had, Masyn, especially you.
Yeah, definitely. First career win means a ton to me, especially to be down in Victory Lane with Lore Sports. That was pretty awesome.
How'd your week go? A lot easier, man, after the victory, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean we were celebrating from Thursday night all the way till probably now. I mean you can't. First one, you gotta use all the time you can to celebrate. So we've been on a high since Thursday.
I asked you this in Victory Lane, Masyn, and I always hate kind of asking those questions because it's like, how do you feel? Well, how do you think I feel? I feel great, but how did it compare to your dreams of winning to actually being down there?
I think it was everything I've ever dreamed of, honestly. I mean, that ever since I've gotten into the sport trucks, I knew it was going to be a challenge. I mean, that division just has so many good guys, so many good drivers. I knew it was going to take time to develop and finally get to victory lane. I've thought of so many different scenarios and everything of where that would come true. And honestly, it was everything I've ever dreamed of.
Cadyn, you're up next here, man. You've been close many times. You were able to join your brother in victory lane just a little bit here, but you've been close as well. What were your thoughts about this past week, and how your season's been going so far?
Yeah, I mean, the start of the season really hasn't been what I've hoped for. I mean, I've gotten a top 10 in every single race this year, I guess excluding Plover because I didn't run the feature due to blowing up. But, I mean, a top 10 in every WIR race this year, you can't complain too much. We've been having a solid standing in the points. I want to improve a little bit on last year, but I think as long as we keep the problems away like we did last year, I think we'll really be able to move up a couple spots from where we are now, which is 10th. So I think realistically, goal is probably 6th or 7th in points this year.
All right, guys, where did this all start? Did you guys race your big wheels or your bicycles, or where did you all start your racing careers, guys?
It's funny you say that because, well, Kate and I, we grew up, we've been huge NASCAR fans our entire lives. Probably since we were about 5 years old, we've been going to races, watching races, and we used to run our scooters around the house and hurt each other, crash into each other. We'd ride bikes and stuff and do our own little mock-up races. So, I mean, we've been with racing since we were really little. So now to actually be in a Wisconsin sport truck and developing and hopefully going to climb the ranks here, and it's pretty cool.
So, Cadyn, was your family also big racing fans, and did anyone kind of dabble in racing prior to you guys getting into it?
Yeah, so that's a question we get a lot because it's kind of interesting. No one else in our family has any racing background. It pretty much all started with Mason and I being probably 3-4 years old, sitting on the couch on a Sunday with my dad watching NASCAR, and we fell in love with the sport so much that eventually we wanted to do it one day. And back in 2017, we both got go-karts to run in Oshkosh at the Kids Kart Club. So 2018, Mason and I both made our debut in the go-karts, and we were able to learn a lot through that. And eventually we got to the point where we were winning a lot, really, proving ourselves and showing that we needed to move up. And I mean, this is where we ended up. So.
Yeah, what went all into the decision to move to the Wisconsin Sport Trucks, or maybe did you do something prior to getting into the Wisconsin Sport Trucks?
Yeah, like I said with the carts, that I'm gonna say that right now. That's the main reason why we actually ended up getting into the sports trucks, because Logan Mahoney, former sport truck driver, he raced the carts with us, and we ended up getting in talks with him in a little bit. I know Mason was mainly the one that talked to him about it, and we asked our questions, and that's where we really started looking into it, looking into the series itself, and that's what ultimately made the decision.
That quarter mile is rather tough and bumpy, though, So, how did you get used to driving on a track like that with the competition that's out there?
It's definitely not easy. I mean, I'll admit our rookie class this year, some of the guys have really proved themselves. Like they've conquered the quarter mile better than some rookies have in the past. But yeah, I think it took me up until last year to finally learn how to drive that track how I'm supposed to and keep the momentum rolling, which is a big thing there. Keeping your momentum will help you pass guys. So yeah, I mean it takes time. A lot of people kind of think they watch trucks from the stands and they see how bumpy it is, but they also think, oh, maybe I could go and do that, and they give it a shot, and they say never again. So yeah, it takes time.
What year did you end up moving up into the Wisconsin Sport Trucks?
Okay, so my first year was 2022. We bought a truck from Tanner Fickle. He was selling his. We paid a pretty good price for it, and our original plan was to not run all the races. Well, you can see how that went. We ended up running the entire WIR series that year. We missed the first two, but so did everyone else because it rained out. But and then we ended up making two touring series races. We ran Slinger and then the Dells. So that kind of just we got hooked right away. I had a decent finish, good run, my first time out there, and now we're just blown into it. I mean,
What was the learning curve like working on some of these machines here? Did you work on some of the carts with the Kid Kart Club and then move up, or do you have someone with your family that is mechanical helping, or did you kind of just jump into it and all learn at the same time?
Yeah, so with the carts, there really wasn't much work you had to do with them. I mean, the most I can really think of is a couple side panels got damaged, just bending those straight. But really, other than that, there wasn't much with setup. I would say the tire pressure was the main thing. But when we first got in the sports truck, what was that?
I was gonna say the go karts they ran sealed motors,
That
so
is,
there
yeah,
wasn't really much you could do to them that wise.
yeah, that's a thing too. Compared to the sports trucks where we don't have sealed motors, you really couldn't do engine work. Unlike now, where we're sometimes tearing an engine apart every week. But no, back to the story where Mason first got started. My dad said he was even scared to take the motor out of the thing. He didn't really know what he was doing. Well, we started learning over time, and my dad has busted his tail off each and every week, learning as much as he can, learning how to make these things fast, the small techniques to them, and it's really helped a ton. My dad is the main reason why we're out there running up front every week.
But you were talking about bending a little bit here or there, but you took one hell of a wallop at Wausau. That stopped the show, man, and it shows that the trucks are actually safe, aren't they?
Yeah, that's one wreck I really haven't been able to talk about, on a show like this. But yeah, it was definitely interesting because I know you in the video and a lot of other people around that I could see looked, shocked and very concerned about it. But if I'm being honest with you, I've had way harder hits than that. And I think the best part is I had no idea it was coming. And what really caused that, I'll admit, I would think I was running second when that happened, and I was trying too hard to catch Casey Vanderloop, who stole the lead from me a lap or two before. And I think I just got on it too hard, started bouncing a little bit, and the thing turned around on me. And the kill switch for it was in kind of a weird spot when I cranked the wheel to try to correct it. My elbow bumped into it and shut it off. And both of our trucks, we have electric start, so we're able to fire them right back up if they shut off. Well, I went to go hit the button and I felt myself fly forward a little bit and just the sound of a gunshot probably. But the best part is I really didn't feel much of it.
What's been the biggest part of your success going forward? Because you guys have gradually gotten better and better every year. What's the key to your success moving forward?
I think it's just talking to other drivers and learning what they do to help make them better. And it's also doing your research while you're at home. I mean, my dad and I, and even Caden sometimes, we all just kind of look up tricks, things we can do to make these things faster. And some of those things pay off, and sometimes they don't. It's just trial and error, basically.
Where do you see your racing careers going? Do you see a feature or a future, excuse me, past the Wisconsin sport trucks, or do you see you guys staying in sport trucks for quite a while?
We definitely want to move up, but at the same time, we don't want to rush it. And we also want to make sure we have, the funds for things. We don't want to jump into something and just it could completely ruin our whole racing career. I know that's definitely happened to some people in the past, but yeah, realistically, I don't. We're kind of looking at two things right now, either Midwest trucks or quarter mile late models. We're not exactly sure what, but the ultimate goal for obviously all of us is making it to NASCAR. It's going to be hard to do that, but if I can make it to at least super late models or like racing as part of the ASA Midwest Tour or the ASA Stars Tour, I would say that my career was a success. That's where I'd be very well content with.
You guys use the same setups, or is your driving styles the same, or are you just a little bit different style?
So when we first got the trucks, we got two of them. We thought that it would be throw the same setup, like something that works for mine would work for his. It's not like that whatsoever. Both trucks, almost I would say actually every truck in the field drives differently. Drivers drive differently. Each truck likes its own thing and hates its own thing. So yeah, I could be running something that his truck would not run good with at all. It's just kind of whatever you throw at it and you figure out works.
You guys talked about how bumpy the track is on that quarter mile there earlier. A lot of those trucks bounce around quite a bit. What's the key to get that not to happen?
For me, I think it's kind of just running. My truck really likes it as low as I can be in one and two. Obviously, you can't run where you want to every time when you're in a race, but I really like running low in one and two. And the lower I am, it makes my truck suck through the corners, doesn't bounce. And then three and four, I like a little bit of a higher entry and kind of dive down into the turn. That's what helps me. I'm not sure about his. His is kind of it's bipolar.
Yeah, so with going back to setup, Mason, there's a lot more adjustability with this truck with, camber, lowering the rear axle and stuff like that, which mine is pretty much all air pressure. That's really all it relies on. So it's pretty much just finding that sweet spot in the tire pressure. And I mean, there's different things because for whatever reason, that truck is handling a lot different than what it did at the end of last year. And there's just certain things I want to try if it's either braking earlier than what I am, or found something out this year that because I typically coming out of corners, I'm right away on the gas, but I found out just the way that my truck's been handling recently, if I just ease on the throttle, it'll help it get through a little better. But another thing too is with the tires getting hot. It feels like the first three laps is the best truck I've ever driven, and then right after that, it'll go back to where it was in the end of the heat race and whatnot.
I should have asked this earlier, Caden. Asked Mason, kind of answered what year he started. What year did you start in the Wisconsin sport trucks? And then did you race karts while Mason was just beginning in the sport trucks? How did your career work out?
Yeah, so Mason's first year in the trucks back in 2022. I was running out my final year in the karts. And I guess I don't want to sound like I was cocky with how my season was, but it got to the point where it wasn't fun anymore. I was basically going into every race knowing I was going to win, or at least have a very solid chance of winning. So we won the championship that year in the karts, and I mean, after a really dominant season, we knew that it was time to move up, and we ended up buying a truck actually middle of 2022, and that's what made it worse for me. I already had my sport truck sitting in the garage. It wasn't quite ready to go at all yet, but it still really took the excitement away from the cards, thinking, oh, if this thing was ready, I could be out there with my brother in the truck series. But yeah, we got that first truck, you know, all built up to where we wanted it to. And I made my debut at the Tundra race back in 2023, where if I think back to that, we took ninth, but yeah, that year was interesting with the three different chassis that I went through. That's something people might not know, but that first one was just a complete bounce house. That thing would not want to stay on the ground at all. And then the second one we bought, I don't know, it just really didn't fit my driving style. And then the opportunity came up that we could buy Mark Sokolik's truck, whose truck we tried to get in the beginning from, when we were gonna get me into the truck series. But that's the same truck I have now, and I've come to fall in love with that thing.
So the 22 is for Joey Logano. You're a diehard Logano fan, but what about that 52? Where'd that number come up about?
So the 52, I get that question a lot because I went from the go-karts, I ran number 12. And so when I ran 52, everyone's like, why didn't you run 12? Well, first of all, 12 was taken. Larry Blado still has that number. But 52 was ran by a good friend of ours, Kyle Brinkman. We grew up watching him race. He raced, I think, ASA late models and Midwest trucks, and then he ended his career on dirt in the midget series. So yeah, that's kind of where we got the 52 from, and we brought it back to honor Kyle and his dad.
Yeah, I remember Kyle racing there. What made you like Joey Logano there, Caden?
So, I'd say back in like 2013 or 2014 when I'd watch NASCAR, I would pick a random driver to cheer for each week. And it's funny that I still remember the race that it was. Because my dad obviously knew that I'd pick someone else every week, and he's like, "Who you picking this week?" I said Joey Logano. It was the playoff race at Kansas back in 2014, and I remember he won, and just after that, for whatever reason, I just stuck with it.
Do you have a favorite NASCAR driver there, Mason? Obviously not Joey Logano.
Yeah, not Joey Logano. But he was teammates with Joey Logano for the majority of his career. My favorite driver is Brad Keselowski, which this year it is not fun being a Keselowski fan.
And why Brad Keselowski?
I think it was kind of like the same deal with him. I just really liked the Miller Lite car too growing up, and I picked him to win a race one week. I think it was Las Vegas. Dale Jr. ran out of gas on the final lap, and he passed him. And that was kind of like, oh, this is my driver. He always did the burnouts with the American flag, and I was like, this guy's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're all both in Fords, man. So you guys are on the right side of the fence there.
Yeah,
oh yeah, for sure.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Yeah, speaking of Brad Keselowski, I've always admired his talent. Joey Logano, too. I think Joey Logano gets a lot of heat, especially up here with the whole Kenseth deal and all of that. But when you really listen and see how he interacts with his fans and listen to what he says, very smart guy. Brad Keselowski, I love the American flag thing. Mark and I were at Chicagoland back in 2012 when he beat Jimmy Johnson out of the pits on his way to that championship in that Miller Lite 2 car. So those are always some fond memories for me, and two great drivers to root for.
For sure.
So, what other racing do you kind of get into or watch other than NASCAR? Is there anything out there that you really enjoy watching?
So, something this last winter we tried a little bit. We did every once in a while. We'd actually go to the hobby town in Oshkosh and go run RC cars, and that was a little bit of fun. Getting together with your buddies on a Friday night, getting some pizza, DoorDash there too. We ran with fellow Wisconsin sports truck driver Aiden Zweers, and it was a fun time every time we went there. Even though we really weren't the best at it, but and it's cool. It was cool too. It was my first time going there. It was shocking to see a bunch of WIR guys there too that run there all the time. But we're we're big into going to dirt races too across the state, whether it's Plymouth or Angel Park and other tracks like that. It's just anytime we can be at a racetrack, we're gonna be there.
What are the plans for the rest of the year here? Are you following the full touring schedule, weekly WIR, obviously? Are you following both of those schedules?
For sure, yeah. The last 3 years now we've hit every single race on the schedule, and I remember I think 2023 we were gonna do every single race except the 2 or 3 Norway ones we had. Well, he was running second in the touring points, and then that's when we kind of figured out it's like, you know what? We'll take the 2.5 hour drive and go hit Norway as well. So we're gonna continue to do that again this year. We're very excited to get Thomas Sparta Speedway on the schedule this year. That's the next one on the touring schedule next Friday. So it's going to be exciting to hit a new track on the touring schedule and one no one's ever ran before in those sport trucks.
Well, we've seen you out at Golden Sands, man. That place is nice, flat, and fast, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that banking. Um, I haven't really experienced this much since my first time there, but going through the corners, the G's that you're feeling going through there is pretty insane. But yeah, Plover is it's an interesting track for the trucks. It's been known as a engine killer, like what happened to me the last time we were there. I think it took out maybe 5 people uh, that last time we were there, just due with the engine trouble. But other than that, it's such a fun fast track to race at.
I like people call it mini Daytona for us.
So, what's your favorite racetrack to race at then? Is it Plover or where do you like to race? Mason, I'll start with you.
So my favorite track was State Park Speedway, which is sadly not hosting races anymore. I hope it comes back, but who knows what the future will hold. But yeah, State Park Speedway is just such a great facility. It's in an awesome location. The scenery in the back with the trees and everything, and I just loved in the sports trucks that 1 and 2 you could go almost wide open, and then in 3 and 4 it was different. Sport trucks you couldn't really run low. I mean, you could, but it was super rough. So you would see guys running middle to high, and then I got was fortunate enough to have purchased a 4-cylinder beforehand, and I did the ISS Enduro race there for the final one, which I was glad I did. We ended up having electrical problem, and there was a small fire inside the car, but yeah, it was just as fun in a 4-cylinder that it was in a sports truck, and I think the Wimmer family did a great job running State Park Speedway, and yeah, I really miss it.
Cadyn, how about you?
I mean, there's a lot of great tracks that we go to in the trucks. I think personally, I feel like a lot of people would think Slinger would say a lot of people, but come on, you can't beat Dells Raceway Park. That track is awesome. I mean, it's kind of like Plover where you're almost wide open all the way through, and there's so much throttle time, and I mean everything about that place, the facility, and just how smooth the track is. I don't know. That's just a track you can't beat.
So, hey
Where
guys, yeah, go ahead, Lauren.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to ask him. I go, hey, when it comes to sponsorship, do you guys got the same sponsors, or are you totally separate on that? And who do you got to thank for sponsorship between you two?
Yeah, so sponsorships, we each go out every year and do kind of some of that on our own, but we'll have some like family friends and stuff that are sponsoring both trucks. So I'll let Caden start with his sponsors. Let him thank them.
Yeah, so we're obviously going to start off with my primary RC Underground Radio. Um, Dave
Right on the
Brinkman.
shirt.
Yeah, right on the shirt. Dave Brinkman, the one who runs it, he's been a lot of help throughout our racing career. I mean, every bit of help that we've needed, we always knew we could rely on him. And something I also want to touch on a little bit after this is the merch line that we got going on. But I also got to thank Wenzel Farms. They hopped on board this year. It's cool having, one of your sponsors seeing their product in like a grocery store or a Quick Trip. I know every time I'm at Quick Trip, I'm grabbing one of their snack sticks. So that's awesome. But then we got Mr. Detail, ML Designs, Odyssey Cinema, Aero Auto, Zap Designs, Remedy Plumbing and Heating, Integrity Saw and Tool, The Break Room, Wisco Sideways, Max Van Thiel. I can't think of the name he has on the truck. It's his Instagram username, but he's actually all the way from the Netherlands, which is cool. Which at the the only time right now we think he's our only one and only international fan, which is cool. And then More Dynamic Solutions, M&O Concrete Services, and Trammell Overhead Doors.
Mason, go right into yours.
So I want to say a huge shout out to Aaron Beavers with Williamsburg Contracting. I'm not sure you maybe have seen them. They're a sponsor for Carson Hocevar and a couple other NASCAR drivers. So it's cool to have that connection there. So Williamsburg Contracting, and then we got Shenko Custom Designs on the shirt. He also played a huge part in the primary sponsorship for this season. So super glad to have him on there. But then we have AK Manufacturing, Vast Racing Products, who is a sponsor of Eric Jones. So a lot of NASCAR connections here. But Creative Studios, Human Food, M&O Concrete Services, More Dynamic Solutions, Gertrude's Ice Cream. Next time you're at WIR, go get yourself a Gertie bar. They're freaking amazing.
I'm gonna try one next week or tomorrow, actually.
Same
Integrity Saw
here.
and Tool, ML Designs, Freed's Automotive, the Odyssey Cinema in Fond du Lac, Premium Remedy Plumbing and Heating, Aero Auto, Jason Cooley, he has his Cash App logo on there, Ramjets Bar in Fond du Lac, Mr. Detail, Excel Sports, RTR Graphics, and the Diner in Fond du Lac.
One thing I'll say, obviously, a lot of sponsors that you do, and it's cool to hear that you guys go out and do this. And the cool thing for me is, anyone can slap a logo on there, and you can kind of talk about having logos on your car. But one thing that it's obvious with you guys is how much you value that. And you guys do a great job with social media and everything. So I think that that's a great thing that you guys value.
Thank you. We definitely value social media. Everyone who does sponsor is super special to us. So we try to get the best word out for them we can and get them the best bang for their buck.
I also, you spoke about the apparel line. I saw that coming into this podcast here. Looks like Carpy's Print Company put it out. The design looks awesome. Go ahead and talk about that, Cadyn.
Yeah, so RC Underground Radio, they're really the ones who had the connections with them, and he was really talking to me about it. He's like, hey, I'm working with this great company that will be able to make merchandise for you. You guys don't have to take care of any of it, and they really put out some quality work. And I'm like, sounds great to me. So yeah, we were able to get that whole design made. All I had to send them was a picture of the truck and just sponsorship logos and stuff like that, and it turned out amazing. I saw the design and immediately realized, I'm like, there needs to be no changes to this thing or anything. It's perfect. And another thing I want to touch on too, we're also going to be doing some fun things that has to do with giving away some free merchandise and even a little bit that involves a cash prize. So our the guy who owns RC Underground Radio, Dave Brinkman, if he ever catches you at the track, which, sorry, family, this excludes family, but if you're seen at WIR or anywhere out in public, you'll be rewarded with a $50 cash prize wearing Cadyn Liedke RC Underground Radio merchandise.
Oh,
That's phenomenal. Yeah, the design, I like the blue. Obviously, Lore Sports is blue and all that. So I really enjoyed seeing the design that you guys came up with, and cool that came together for you. So Man, what do you have to do to find yourself in victory lane tomorrow night? Some stiff competition.
Yeah, so I think once we really get the handling down on this truck, we're gonna be set up pretty good. All I have to do is, stay up front, stay out of trouble, really put myself into position how Masyn did. I know that's really the main way he got his feature win. I mean, it's the best way you can do it, putting yourself into position, wait for mistakes from the two leaders like what happened, and really take chances of other people's misfortunes. I know that happened to I don't know who ended up winning the feature last year, but I knew I blew up while leading with a very, very fast truck, and I knew that could have been the night where we could have got it done. But yeah, you just got to take those chances. You got to. That's the most important part. Not always the fastest guy is gonna win. So as long as we can put ourselves into position, I think we'll be pretty solid.
So, in your opinion, between you two, which one's going to win first?
Well, I think I want to say I would win again. I hope soon. I hope I can get two, maybe before he gets one, but we'll see.
Well, guys, we appreciate your support all through the years. I know you guys walk up to us and say that you listen to the podcast, and just above that, you're great people. We love seeing you at the track. Like I said, you're not afraid to talk to anyone. You do a great job with your fans and your sponsors, and that's evident from us and everyone, I'm sure too. So you have two great looking trucks always. So keep up the great work, and I'm sure we'll have you on again here soon. We appreciate it, and have some fun tomorrow again.
Definitely. Thank you guys. And
Thank you, Lauren and Mark.
and then
Yeah,
thank you guys for everything you do in the racing community too. I mean, Mark, I always enjoy looking at your videos, the recaps of the night. When I can't make a race, I know who to look for. I always got those videos up. And Lauren, for great interviews in Victory Lane. I hope to see you more this year. Just thank you guys. You guys are awesome.
so
Likewise, guys.
thanks, guys. Hey, it's such a, it's going to be great watching where your careers go, man. So we're going to just sit back and watch you guys blossom, man. So good luck, and we'll see you in Victory Lane, one of you tomorrow night. How's that sound?
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
That'd be awesome.
How exciting was that, Mark, this past week to see Masyn take his first career win? And you know, they work so hard at this, and they're great kids, and to see that all come to fruition for Masyn. And every time we talk to them, both of them both said, I think we would be happier than the person actually winning, no matter who wins between the two. And we talked to them a little bit after, and Cadyn was saying he forgot he was still racing. He was sticking his arm out the window and was so happy, and joined him in victory lane there. So that was pretty cool. But just great kids, and a great accomplishment by Masyn. And I know Cadyn's day is coming too. You can see the talent there, and everything will come together for him soon.
Yeah, and then you're standing there, and all of a sudden he gets out. What's the first thing he does? He goes over there and gives you a great big old hug. You wanted to celebrate with somebody, man. And we all know, look at it. Hey, look at Lord got a hug. So happy times down there in the X, huh?
Yeah, those are great times and great memories for me, because it's the only place that I'll be that everyone's happy to see me. I know I half jokingly say that, but it's true. You've done something, accomplished something, and you're so happy to be in victory lane. It's so great to see those guys and girls win and accomplish that. And man, Masyn, he's been getting better and better, and it came together for him.
It did. It looked pretty easy, man. He could have slowed down in the last two laps. He was stinking up the show. But hey, some of them guys are professionals down there. They're actually taking the mic right off of you and taking right over, don't they?
Oh, you just had to mention that. I'm gonna get so much crap for that. He actually talked to me after and said I was in the moment. I didn't even realize I did that. And every time I walk down, the guys in the tower say, "Don't give up the mic." So
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll love hearing that. So I appreciate you bringing that up, buddy.
Yeah, it's all right. We watch what goes on down there, so that's it's entertainment. We watch and see what's going on.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, the Liedke boys, man, so great to have them on. Great to see them continue to rise. They're going to get better and better, like they have already. I think they even have a Wisconsin sport truck for sale. So if you're looking for a Wisconsin sport truck, I think it's under Chad Liedke on Marketplace, unless that's sold already. I think that's part of the Liedke crew anyway. So could get into the sport yourself.
Go ahead, Lauren. You're younger than I am.
I want to see you try it.
I like money, and I don't need to be shook up like on that racetrack. That one, I probably wouldn't be able to get out of the car or out of the truck after being shook up like that on that track. No, thanks. I'll pass. I'll pass on that.
I've seen you go kart at Road America.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, you keep saying you got to go wide open, and I always like to at least know that the brake is there, So you're just kind of feathering the brake just to know that the comfort of the brake was there. So, but yeah, they really rip around that place down at Road America too. Thank God we didn't get a chance to do that this time. I was not interested.
Yeah. But again, thanks to the Licky boys for coming on.
Very much
We'll
so.
see
Yeah.
them tomorrow night. Hey, we talked about Masyn Liedke getting his first win. We'll continue on with the Fox River Racing Club here. Another first-time winner last week, excuse me, was Jacoby Pillay in the Sizzling Forest there. That was pretty cool to see as well.
Love them first-time winners, man. We'll always look forward to those. Those are so special, always.
Yeah, another great guy. He helps out some people there, and was great to see him take his first win. In the super stocks there, Ethan Beatty took the win there. He had a pretty good ride. In the late model division, well, first actually I should say Ethan Beatty also went and found himself in victory lane for the figure eight. So he had a great night winning both of those races.
Yeah, double up. Nothing better than that, right? Get two of them, two for the price of one.
Yeah, and he dedicated his wins to Hank Grishaber from Hank and Karen's, who we talked about, unfortunately passed away 2 weeks ago or so. And so that was pretty cool to see Ethan in victory lane with that car and remembering Hank.
Yeah, very much so.
The late model race was quite interesting. Alex Stumpf ended up finding himself in victory lane with his fast red Ford Mustang. I'll say that because him and I and you were going back and forth a little bit there with that Ford Mustang and red and all that. But boy, a scary incident with Will Timmers, and very thankful that Will is okay in recovering now. I'll tell you what, man, I've never seen an accident like that anywhere, let alone at WIR, where I stand in the middle of the quarter mile. It looked like he had actually barrel rolled outside of the track. And I thought we were going to be talking about something catastrophic there. And of course, it was bad enough. But scary incident, and so thankful for the safety of these vehicles. The safety crew was on there with, I would say, 2 or 3 seconds. They were right there. And just so thankful that he is okay, because I'll tell you what, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking back to seeing that. And man, it almost leaves you speechless. It was hard to focus on racing after that one, man.
I got up. I just saw that, and I just I went to took a break, man. I just got up and I walked up, and I was going to walk over to the men's room, and I didn't even get over to the hamburger stand, and it stopped me in my tracks, and I just stopped and just I hear crickets. I don't hear nobody talking. The crowd was just such a hush. It was actually eerie feeling, but that stopped me right there and just kind of looked around like, this is crazy, man. This is just nuts. And, the best thing that probably happened is that the car actually stayed in the park. If that would have went through the fence, we don't know what would ever happen. When I told many people when I was at the Tundra race, when we first started the season, and I walked through there, and for some reason I looked over at that wall and said, wow, what a vulnerable place. I remember Willie Gaden ended his career against that wall there. I know Lowell Bennett had a nasty wreck back in the day there too. And even if maybe the saving grace was maybe the way the car did land, because if he would have went head on into that wall, then you don't know how that would have turned out either. So, yep. Hey, we pray first, right? We always pray first, and really, actually, we mean it, and that gives us the assurance that they're being looked after out there for the people that entertain us, man. And yeah, I got a hold of Bill, Will's dad, the next morning, and we got to talk on Messenger a little bit back and forth, and he got to share the video, and so yeah, looking forward to see him at the track, man. I'd go up and give him a hug, man. And once he gets himself back together. So yeah, somebody was looking over him that night.
For sure, yeah, and Alex went into victory lane there, and we did the interview, and I looked at him and I said, I don't know how you do what you just did there, and he said, like all racers that I talk to, you just put it in your back of your mind and go do what you got to do, but that's a tough mindset to have, and I know a bunch of the super late model drivers. I was involved in a few discussions while that was all going on with them, just waiting it out, and thinking about how the late model drivers have to go at it here after witnessing and seeing that, and then the super late model drivers know something serious happened and having to strap back in, or strap in their race car and go race. I don't
But
know how they do it, but
that's part of it, dude. It's part of it. We've seen this through all the years that they'll get back on that horse, man, and they go back out there. You got to have one of them kind of, I guess, drivers. A lot of times they'll say, "Hey, it's going to happen to somebody else. If it happens, it's not going to happen to me." But that's not the way it is. But sometimes that's the way that they got to feel about it. So. Hey, they're warriors, man. They're doing things that I can't do and I wouldn't do, and that's why I love supporting them, and for entertaining us. It is an entertainment business, and yeah, I appreciate every one of them that entertain us out there.
yeah, absolutely. And again, the main thing is Will's okay. He's recovering from bumps, bruises, everything that he's going through. You can stay updated on social media when they put out updates there. I know Bill's been putting them out there, but just unbelievable. Thankful that it wasn't worse, and thankful that of everything that happened, the safety crew, the car safety, just everyone involved that helped out. So
Hey, them
crazy
safety
incident.
guys, them safety guys. I went to the Tundra race, and I was down in the pits, and I said, and I walked up also at Madison, same thing. I walked up to these guys, and and I thanked them. I says, "Hey guys, what you do, and they appreciate it, and boy, they sure showed their true colors on that one there, man. I mean, that car hardly even settled, man, and they were already right there at the car. Hats off to all them guys. They did a super job as always,
Yeah.
and they all do a job down there, man. That you got to be Johnny on the spot when something happens like that, man. And all the training and everything all goes in, and hey, man, it all worked out, man. And appreciate every one of them.
Absolutely, for sure. I feel the same way, and tell those guys, I say it probably 2 or 3 times over the mic in a night. Just thankful. We don't want to use them, but they're there if we need them, and we needed them this last Thursday in a big way, and so thankful that everything worked out and for them as well.
Yep.
In the super late models, then Chad Butts took the win, although it looked like Riley Stenjum was going to win the race until a late caution, and Chad Butts was able to capitalize on that.
What a race. That was a good one. The last 9 laps, they fought it out, and Chad, did it nice, clean, and easy, and he got him at the very end, and it was a very entertaining race right there.
Yeah, it was a very good race there. Can't wait for more racing action. We got the quarter mile late models joining us again tomorrow night. Bergstrom Kaukauna night, so come on out. There's been a change here. I'll give you guys an update here. So the choose area that's been happening there on the half mile has changed a little bit. It was moved back closer to the spotter stand, and is sponsored by Therian Insurance, which is why it was further down the track there for a while. They also sponsor the track, so they have a sign up there. Therian Insurance does, which Fred and everyone with Therian Insurance, we appreciate everything that you do for the track and sponsorship and all that. So, but they moved that back. We're going to call it the switch and save zone. So that's what we'll call it. It looks like it's got a little bit of yellow paint around it now too. Hopefully that'll help a little bit. But so there's been a little bit of a change there. Also, tomorrow night is they've made an adjustment to the entry fee to get in for some fans. So tomorrow night only, as far as I know, kids under 18, so 17 and under, are free. And will get a ticket at the gate to place inside a Fox River Racing Club Hoosier tire. And all the 17 under kids that put it in that tire will be eligible to win prizes. Boy, I tell you what, the weekly show out at WIR with the Fox River Racing Club is the best out there. And this just puts it over the top, man. Kids under 17 and under getting in for free, and you can win prizes just by putting a ticket that you're going to get inside a tire. What more would you ask for?
Hey, man, do you remember being in school, man? All of a sudden, guess what? Last day of school, and you're out of school for summer, and then, hey, there's racing going on at Kaukauna. I mean, wow, that is just the best way to go, man. What else could there possibly be on a Thursday night? So, yeah, everybody get out there. Let's support that.
Absolutely. Yep. So great night to get out there. I know school's ending. Some ended last week. Some will end this week or tomorrow even. So it's going to be a great night. Again, 17 and under, free. Get a ticket to win some prizes as well. So the best show gets a little bit better tomorrow night, man. It's you don't want to miss it.
And the weather's supposed to be just awesome tomorrow night. So no reason not to come out and support it.
Absolutely. All right, Mark, let's talk some more about the racing scene here. You talked about it earlier. Hocevar won the Money in the Bank 150 last night over at Berlin Raceway. You mentioned that, but the thing you didn't mention is it's his third, and he's the first one to win 3 Money in the Banks there. So pretty special for Carson Hocevar.
Tell you what, fans, if you got a bucket list, there's a place to go. They're going to be over there probably the second Wednesday of August. It's right before the Red Race. And it doesn't take much to get on over there. I'll tell you what, it's a really cool facility. Really, I would almost classify that place probably just as hard as Kaukauna of how you got to try to get around that place. Really modern facility. So yeah, that's on the bucket list to go back there again sometime because we really did enjoy our time there.
Yeah, I didn't make that one, but it's on the list to get out there for sure. Also, let's talk about Road America. We were there on Saturday for the Moto America, man. Also, something cool with Moto America is that starting this past weekend at Road America, it's going to stream its Superbike races on Peacock and NBC Sports. So if you get into it, which I even watched Sunday on Peacock, they put on a pretty good show there, which we'll talk about. But you can watch them on Peacock and NBC Sports here. On Saturday there, the Stock 1000s was the first race there. Andrew Lee had won that one. He also won on Sunday for the weekend sweep there. But I tell you what, man, we met up with the Feetzer clan and watching them go into turn 1. And I think you and I both looked at each other like we thought like super late model racing and local racing is pretty crazy, but this is at a different level here, this bike stuff.
Yeah, I was picking Ty's brain, just like asking him all kinds of things, like how can you do brake ratios, and I mean, my God, we even talked about knee pads and manufacturers, and the backing behind that. And there was all multiple questions, and Ty was just more than happy to answer the questions for us because we're kind of off of our standard here. And then afterwards, we got to see them go run. They ran the go-kart track, and they ran it backwards like this. And boy, also when Ty got off, and he was working his wrist and everything, and it makes you think of how much they're wrenching on them cars and how they use their body on the. Some of these guys are just hanging off the side of these motorcycles, and they're moving. They are flying, and I'll tell you what, when we went onto the backstretch back there for that one race back there, that's the fastest I ever seen a motorcycle go flying by. I mean, just unbelievable. It's just a blur. And they do amazing things, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was picking his brain too. Before you started asking questions, I was asking like how fast are they going for the different divisions, and how similar it is to the over the seas stuff like Marquez, is in the bike racing overseas, and he's one of the biggest drivers over there, and that stuff's pretty crazy too. But he told me they were going about 200 miles per hour. Well, on Peacock, I found out that some of the fastest speeds were like 189, like approaching 200 there, and it was just like, yeah, I don't know that I want to be on two tires going that fast. And then, oh, by the way, here comes a 90-degree turn that I have to get ready for and hope no one runs in the back to me. And if someone does, what's going to happen? And I tell you what, it's probably going to get me into this a little bit more.
Yeah, that's for sure. Hey, we were riding around on a shuttle, and then I got blamed for having a flat tire, right? So that, the guy kind of come back, the driver, like, how long has this been flat? Well, a little ways. And I heard some people saying, hey, it's the guy in the back. It's the guy in the back that got the flat tire. So we ended up on top of the hill, walked back to Canada Corner. And just when we were just about there, all of a sudden there was a spill that was back there. And three of them went straight and they dumped her. But one bike went right into the barrier and you could hear that. And it was just a flash. And I go, holy smokes, they dumped their bikes. They all got back up and they all carried on. And then they fixed the padding on the wall a little bit later. Exciting place right there. But yeah, it was we got our miles of walking that day, dude. We got our exercise and racing. What a way to go there, right, buddy?
Yeah. So the incident you're talking about was in the Parts Unlimited Talent Cup. So those are people trying to get to the next level. Sam Drain ended up winning that race, and if you remember, Mark, it was like 3 wide at the finish, and you're talking thousandths of a second that race was won by. One of the drivers that was involved in that accident, I found out later, was Hank Vosberg. Hank is a 14-year-old from De Pere, and he raced with Ty later that night. They had him get checked out, and he was able to come back, and he went on to win over Ty. Ty finished second in his race on that go-kart track. But Hank, 14-year-old from De Pere, very talented racer, obviously doing, not only the stuff on the go-kart track with Ty Feetzer, but also doing this Parts Unlimited Talented Cup, and he actually was involved in another incident in turn 5 on Sunday. So I can't imagine being 14, trying to make your way on a bike and being involved in 2 accidents in 2 different days. Oh, and by the way, winning a race on the go-kart track after you wrecked the first time. He just got run over from behind going into Canada Corner. That's what started that. If you're able to see the incident, it's kind of like, I'm not sure what happened there. But anyway, thankful that everyone involved in those incidents and all the incidents for the rest of the weekend were okay. But the winner on Sunday was Alessandro Di Mario, and it was another photo finish. So this Parts Unlimited Talent Cup has my attention here because 2 photo finishes there in consecutive days.
Nothing wrong with that, man. That's the way the racing was, man. It looks like the draft actually works really well with them bikes there.
It does, yeah. So go and check out Ty Feetzer Motorsports, I think it is, on social media, and then Vosberg Racing on social too, because that's a young up and comer from the area that you'll be wanting to watch there. Also, one thing I'll say about Ty Feetzer, not only is he great to us, he's great with all the racers. He's teaching them. He rode a bike with the same person. Uh, just an unbelievable crew and guy. Ty is. They were helping other drivers while they were trying to get ready and do it. And Ty hadn't raced in like a year, and he goes out and sets a blistering pace and finishes second to Hank, who's just incredible himself. So it was really cool to see that camaraderie from Ty and all them.
Quite entertaining. So there's a bucket list crossed off. But if you want to see something that's spectacular, wait till they come around next, probably the first weekend in June, the weekend after Memorial Day. They'll be back there, and wow, they packed the house. What was that? A record crowd there was there also. So
It was the biggest Superbike weekend in Road America history, and tickets for next year are already on sale, so you can already go out and get them.
there you go. And there was campers everywhere, and everybody looked like they were having a heck of a good time there.
Absolutely. Continue on with the Moto America stuff, the Motivation Super Sports. PJ Jacobson won that in another unbelievable race there, Mark, on Saturday. Cam Peterson's left hand ended up hitting Tyler Scott's exhaust. Remember, we seen them wiggle into turn 5 before they got to us down on the down in the Canada corner. That's what happened. His left hand got on Tyler Scott's exhaust, and that cost them the lead in the race there. And PJ Jacobson went on to win. Blake Davis would go on to win Sunday. In Superbikes, Josh Herron was dominant. Beaubier, Cam Beaubier, was catching him, but had a mistake and ended up settling for third. Josh actually won Sunday as well. Beaubier crashed in the carousel right behind him. I mean, they were, wheel to wheel pretty much, and Beaubier just got a little too low, and it was all of a sudden he just carried off into the carousel there. Thankful he was okay, but he was looking to become the most winningest driver in Superbikes this weekend. But how about Josh Herron? I mean, dominant weekend. On top of it, he just had twins last week, and then he goes out and wins twin races. So that was pretty cool. But also a great weekend in the Superbikes was Bobby Fong, who finished second in both of those races too. So, but what can you say about Josh Herron? Just an unbelievable racer, and having twins and then winning twin races. That's a heck of a week there, man.
2 trophies, man, one for each one. So there you go, all set up, man.
They also had the Mission King of the Baggers there. Those were interesting, Mark. Very loud. They're very quick as well. Kyle Wyman won that one on Saturday. Troy Herfoss won on Sunday, and there's a little bit of a rivalry going on there. There was some contact out of the final corner on Sunday, and some interesting things on social media, and they're really playing into it. So if you watch Troy Herfoss on social media, you'll be getting a glimpse of that. And then something else they really do that's really special is they have a female group go out and race. It's called the Royal Enfield Build Train Race, or you might hear it as BTR. Kira Knabel won that one on Saturday, and Miranda Kane won on Sunday there. Kira actually crashed on Sunday there, but again, what a great weekend. It was fun to watch on Sunday on Peacock. It was even better to be in there in person, obviously, on Saturday. Memory that I won't forget for the rest of my life, and we'll see how often we get back there for that. That's definitely going to be high on the list every year, but just incredible. I appreciate the Feetzer family for giving us some information, meeting up with us, and all of that. And we'll see Ty in action tomorrow night with the Core Mile late model and maybe the late model with the Fox River Racing Club. But really cool event. Road America is just so special.
Yeah, and they got IndyCar coming here in a couple of weeks, so people can all go back to that place again, man. Yeah, that's a gem of a place that's just right down the road here, man. So definitely like supporting that place.
Yep. Continue on then. F1 race this past weekend as well. Piastri won that one over Norris and Leclerc. Verstappen was given a 10-second penalty when he wouldn't give a spot back to Russell, and then they also made contact, which was Verstappen's fault there. So that's why he got the 10-second penalty. But Piastri and Norris, once again, the McLarens leading the way.
10-second penalty will kill you, man.
Big time. IndyCar raced at Detroit this past weekend as well. Kyle Kirkwood got his second win of the season over Ferrucci and Herta. Late caution came out when Malukas and Pillow got together. And that had some guys like Ferrucci playing some different strategy. Although it came out just a couple days ago, yesterday or Tuesday, that IndyCar announced a post-race technical inspection penalty for the number 14 of Ferrucci and AJ Foyt Enterprises following the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix. It was found to be under the required driver ballast weight following the event, so they'll be allowed to keep their second place finish. However, the entry will be fined $25,000, forfeit 25 championship driver and entrant points. The bonus point for leading a lap also will not be awarded, and the number 14 is also ineligible for engine points and prize money associated with the race. So pretty significant penalty coming down, but if you look at the results, he still finishes second.
And that's all you get out of that. I finished second, but I didn't get nothing for it, and then some. So,
Yeah.
Oh, what a bummer.
That's a bummer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
And you know, it's such a great story for AJ Foyt and Ferrucci to finish second there. But unfortunately, you know, we were hearing a lot about penalties in IndyCar lately.
Yeah, it was, when it comes to Detroit, now that I paid attention to it, they used to run on the island that was out there. Was that Belle Isle that they used to run on? And now they've moved it to the downtown street. So I was actually looking forward to watching them run on the island. And I don't know when they stopped that, but yeah, they were running the road course through the streets of downtown.
Yeah. I think they've done that the last few years. I don't know when they stopped Belle Isle, but I do remember that.
That was a good track. Yeah.
Detroit. Yeah. Then we had NASCAR down in Nashville. We'll start with the truck series. Riggs kind of got loose in turn one and into Honeycutt. That was on lap one. They were able to keep going, but a caution did come out shortly after for fluid on the track. Frankie Muniz came over the radio and said the oil pressure was at 0. And I'll tell you what, he was taking it pretty hard inside of that truck there. And did you see how much fluid was coming out of that truck that they were wiping off the back of it when it did get to the garage? My goodness.
There was oil pressure, but it was all spraying all over the place. And it's amazing that it didn't cause any accidents or wrecks, man. I think it practically emptied the whole oil sump on that. There was oil everywhere. What a bummer to start that race all of a sudden. And I mean, it was all the way around the track. So they do a good job of cleaning that up. It took a little bit, but yeah, they got it cleaned up.
He's pretty down on himself lately, though. You could hear it in his voice and the words that he was saying in the truck there. So hopefully he can find some luck here because he's taking it pretty hard.
Yeah, he has no luck, so he's got to go find it somewhere because it's been just horrible situations for him.
Kyle Busch would get a restart violation in stage 1 as well, but it would be Riggs winning the stage just ahead of Heim. Kyle Busch put up a huge fight to stay on the lead lap there at the end of the stage, which brought Heim right back into it and getting close to Riggs there. Heim even gave a shot to Riggs entering turn 1 at one point. And, you know, the history that they've had recently did cross my mind there.
Yeah, but there was a block that was put on there, and that block actually is what saved Kyle Busch from going a lap down there right there. So, yeah, Riggs won the first stage there.
Chandler Smith would make some contact on pit road, and his crew went to work on the back of the truck there, so there was some damage. But in stage 2, then Wood would get loose and barely got into Ty Majeski, and I thought, oh, here we go again. He's going to turn him because he hit Ty pretty close in that rear where you're going to be spinning out there, no saving that. But somehow he didn't. But Wood would spin, and so would Ogata.
Elgata didn't have nowhere to go, but yeah, Wood tried to stay off of Majeski, and it just got away on him. And I don't know if there was contact. I wouldn't want my fingernail between the two. It was that close.
I think there was definitely contact there, and I think Ty was lucky that it happened where it did, because
Yeah.
an inch or two back, and that could be a different story.
Mm-hmm.
But Corey Heim would win the second stage.
Yep. So Corey Heim, that's his ninth stage of the year, and boy, he's the one who's setting the bar high, man. He's the one that is doing it right now.
He is, yep. How about the finish of the race, though? Heim was right there. Riggs was coming there as well, but it was Raja Karuth who was able to hold on there and take the win, his second career win in the Truck Series. It was Karuth, Heim, Riggs, Hemrick, Day, Honeycutt, Chandler, Majeski, Curry, and Enfinger. Heim did have the fastest lap of the race, 30.240 seconds. Or 158.333 miles per hour.
It was kind of unique, man. Once when the stage was over, there was no, they didn't need to pit. The way that it was set up, that after the stage was, and hey, it went caution free at the end, man, and they just ran it right out to the very end.
Yeah,
Raja was running the best laps of his life. His crew told him, "You better run the best laps of your life," and he did. And he got the victory.
He got a great restart there, and that propelled him to be able to hang on. I mean, I think Heim was the best, or Riggs was right there as well, but Karuth was able to hang on.
But you got to also give credit to his crew. His pit crew kept him in position all race, man.
Yes. Yeah, they were great.
They were awesome. They were the ones that deserved the win there.
Yes. The Xfinity Series then in Stage 1, Kyle Sieg got loose and into Retzloff. Retzloff wrecked. Kyle Sieg would spin but would be okay, and Retzloff was not too happy with Kyle Sieg there. Allgaier would win the stage under caution as Day would spin later on. A few would stay out under the actually a few that stayed out under the last caution got some valuable stage points there because of when that caution fell.
Yeah, that Retzloff, man, he's another one that can't catch a break, huh? Just wrong places at wrong times for him.
No doubt. And Ziada and Perkins would make contact in Sturge 2 with Perkins going around. Allgaier would end up winning the stage later on. Perkins would have an uncontrolled tire there, so a bad stage 2 for Perkins, but Allgaier was right on top of it.
And then they've kind of said, when you sweep the series like he did, he's done it 16 times that he swept the first and second stages, and out of 16 of them, he only got 3 victories. Just like, all of a sudden it seems like the wheels fall off for Allgaier at the end. So that was an interesting note that was said after the second stage.
Yeah, shocking to hear that, but there was a massive checkup on the restart there. Eckes, Jones, Ellis, Kyle Sieg, Alfredo, Harrison Burton, Williams, and others involved. A little after that, so Walich would spin while battling Sammy Smith. Jones would have to do fuel only here because he was out of tires from having to pit earlier.
Once on that pile up at the beginning right there, when I look at it, that starting zone, that box is so large, and right away it seems like everybody, as soon as they cross the line, they think that he's going to take off, but Creed just held up a second, he probably went an extra, what would you say, an extra 20 feet before he fired, and everybody behind him think that they got the timing down, and all of a sudden, once one checks up and the next one, and it's like the guy that's six cars back is the one who loses his radiator, and then they pile them all up. And I kind of think that box is too large. There should be a box that's there. I mean, you could fit 8 cars inside there, and it's the leaders. They had the in-car, and you could listen to the engine to see when Creed fired that did he lift or not, and he didn't. He just waited on it, and the guys behind him, they expected to go, and it didn't fire.
So we've had that discussion before, and they wanted to make the restart zone bigger. Because when you do, and here's why, I know you're disagreeing with it right now, but the reason is, and Denny Hamlin's talked about this on his podcast for a while, the leader should have an advantage by being the leader. When the zone is smaller, that puts him in a smaller box to be able to fire, obviously, and that advantage that he has kind of goes away or slims. So by having the larger restart zone, it at least gets a little bit more of an advantage to the leader, which the drivers feel they have earned.
And it's an advantage for them, but it's a disadvantage for everybody in the back that tries to jump the gun. And once when somebody doesn't go, and they anticipate that fire, and you'll get an accordion effect like that when drivers do that. So yeah, it's a tough one. And boy, once when it happens, it's not just one or two. I mean, they pile up a whole bunch of them. There's a lot of carnage after that.
Well, I think I don't want to be too brash about it, but don't jump the gun.
That's
I know
hard
you
to do
have
when
to
you're.
try to because it's so competitive, but the leader's got to have his advantage too. I don't know.
It's in the heat of the moment, man. But you can't see the guy in front of the guy you're at,
Right.
and you expect them to fire. You don't know what's going on, and you're blind. And all of a sudden, just like when they had Eckes, they had the in-car camera. All of a sudden, here he's going. All of a sudden, he hit the gas, and all of a sudden, bang! It just didn't go, and he had nowhere to go, and popped the radiator, and that was the end of his day.
Those are the drivers I feel bad for because they didn't try to jump the gun. They went when they thought people in front of them were going.
Yeah,
They're just collateral damage, but um, I don't know.
boy, but everybody pointed the finger at Creed, Creed, and right away the drivers were pointing their finger right at him, but he did nothing wrong. He
No.
had that right, so he was in the rules. So that sour grapes for the ones that got wiped out there.
Yeah, and it sucks. I'm not trying to say it doesn't there, but I don't know. The leader deserves the advantage that they can at least have because they earned it by either coming out of the pits first or being first during the race. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of where I stand on it, I guess.
Well, once when you're, the guy next to you, just like Allgaier was on the outside, so he's going to try to do what he can to try to get that advantage over him, and the guy on the outside can't fire till he does, because if he gets to the line first, they're gonna check it and go over. So you kind of, it's like dancing, man. You're dancing with cars. You got to wait till he's making a move before you can make the move. So little mouse games, cat and mouse games that go on there.
Yeah.
So and that will not go away. So
No.
yeah,
How about Allgaier though? He would go on and win the race over Zilich, Mayer, Creed, Chastain, Almirola, Hill, Love, Quapple, Sammy Smith. And how about this? Allgaier has the first perfect 61-point race in Xfinity because remember, not only is it the stage wins, it's the fastest lap as well. And he is the first one to do the 61-point sweep. He had the fastest lap of 30.792 seconds or 155.495 miles per hour. So you couldn't have a better day if you were Justin Allgaier.
and then put this in parentheses, Lauren, and just so this will make you smile. They've had 14 races, and Chevy has won 12 of them. So Chevy's got their act together in the Xfinity Series.
Win on Saturday, buy on Monday.
Sure, you can go down by your own Chevy down there. Help yourself.
I will, thank you. The Cup Series race then.
Hold it. One other thing though.
Go ahead.
Daniel Dye, he got
Yeah.
he got disqualified out of there.
Right.
Just to wrap up the Xfinity Series there.
Correct. You are correct. Yeah. Daniel Dye, unfortunately. Yeah, there we go. Another DQ we're talking about, man.
Yep, and that affected him. And boy, that hurts, man. I mean, they're in the points. They're right on the cut line right now with that, getting a last place finish. So it's a bummer for him.
That's a huge hit to that team because they're trying to be consistent and they showed speed, but man, uh, they don't need that.
They didn't need that.
He failed rear heights, so that's why he was DQ'd after finishing ninth there. So that moved Sammy Smith up to 10th there. So yeah, that's a tough one for them there. But they had. I wondered about that too after I saw it was the rear heights. They had that transmission and rear end go out. I wonder if that was a factor in it not pass. Oh no, that was what was I thinking about? They had some kind of issue there. I was wondering if it affected it, but sounds like they're just going to take the penalty and move on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a gut punch for that team right now. So they lost a lot of points on that one. So now they're tighten it back up and see what they can do this next time that they go out.
Yeah, I was thinking back to the previous weekend that actually knocked them out of the race, that rear end and transmission issue they had late. So that wasn't the factor in it. But anyway, yeah, disqualified for Daniel Dye. The Cup Series then, Bubba Wallace was caught speeding early on in the race. Reddick, Briscoe, and Elliott also thought they had brake issues there, so they were fighting that. But Hamlin would pass Briscoe late and win the stage. This is where it kind of got interesting. Blaney and Cindric both took 2 tires there.
There was no tire fall off. It seems like concrete is more consistent. And it works that way. Yeah, Bubba just got that speeding penalty, man, and that hindered his whole race the rest of the day trying to get that lap back.
Yeah, it did. Hocevar would get into the back of Stenhouse, and Stenhouse would get into the wall and wreck. Keselowski and Nemechek also made contact on pit road. Hamlin took fuel only, and once again, Cindric took 2 tires with a teammate, but this time it was Logano also on 2 tires. But this Hocevar Stenhouse incident has been gaining steam ever since it happened, with Hocevar. People saying he's too aggressive, he needs to tame it down, and didn't reach out to Stenhouse yet, and he should have cut Stenhouse a break, which even his owner has said, I wish he would have cut him a break. He has to learn when to go, when not, but you also don't want to back him down, which I totally agree with. Dale Jr., I heard him say something on his podcast, which I listened to a little bit today in the vehicle, and he said that Hocevar reminds him of 1979 and 1980 Dale Earnhardt, which was very interesting to hear because those are very high words to say. And I think Dale Jr. would probably know best. So I know, like, we've talked about Chastain maybe being compared to Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Busch at one point. I think probably Chastain, the earlier Earnhardt years, and Hocevar is mentored by Chastain. So that would make a lot of sense. But that was interesting to hear Dale Jr. here. But he also agreed that he should have probably cut Stenhouse a break there, and he has to learn a little bit from that. But I do think Hocevar has grown from the trucks. He was a little, rough in the trucks there. Been a little bit rough in the Cup Series as well. I think he's grown a little bit since his recent incidents, but this is one I think he'll look back on and be like, yeah, I should have probably just let him in. But once again, just like you talked about, heat of the moment, want to get everything you can. And he was trying to there. So we'll see how that shakes out, I guess.
As long as you don't go back to the hauler and you find Stenhouse standing there with his shorts, and then like Kyle Busch did, and you don't want to rile Recce. Didn't he? There was a joke with Denny Hamlin about explaining wrecking the Recce, and then he misspoke on that, and that was a funny thing you sent me there.
Yeah, so this is how Denny Hamlin worded it. He wanted to say, because they were talking about how Hamlin gave him the thumbs up after the race, saying, good job. Um, and he said at the time he didn't realize that he ricked Recky. So instead of saying wrecked Ricky, he said ricked Recky. And boy, yeah, he was like, oh my gosh, and even folded on his seat and was like, oh no, that did not come out right. Because there are some, of course, everyone knows there's some call him Recky Stenhouse. I think he gets a bad rap sometimes, but oh, Denny Hamlin, he knew right away that one was gonna catch some heat, and he was like, that came out wrong, and he's like, oh dang, and he just collapsed in his seat.
Yeah, and it's out there, and you can't take it back. But it's funny. So that was all not meant to be, but that was good entertainment there.
Yeah. After that, then Bowman would get loose and into Gregson. Hard pancake hit for Gregson. I tell you what, he kind of hit the wall and it kind of just stopped there. Those are kind of sometimes the scarier ones. Hard fit for Bowman as well, though. And I do not know how Larson missed that. Man, was he close. Also, Stenhouse would go to the garage here during this caution and his day would be over.
Good brakes on that 5 car, man. I mean, he just walled her up, and it was just enough to stop. But yeah, he was quite alert for that one, not to pile into that one.
No doubt. Wow. Jones and Bell would make some contact. Bell would go around. Elliott got a small piece of it there. I think that did affect his car over the period of the race there. TV was debating if he got into him not. I think he did, and that affected Elliott there for the rest of the day. Larson actually had to come down pit road with a possible loose wheel. And then Reddick had a pit a little while after that with a possible flat tire after they just had pitted there.
Yeah. So, hey, once you've seen Christopher Bell pile that rear end into the wall, and he ended up being better off. And he ran better after that. Talking about an adjustment, there you go. Have the wall adjust the rear end of the car, and all of a sudden the 20 found life after that. Every once in a while, back in the olden days, it seemed like somebody would have a crinkled up fender or cider, and it would actually improve the vehicle. So you don't see it often, but it sure happened with the 20 this week.
One thing I don't think that people thought of though, like I don't want to say it was better because I'm not sure it was better or not, but I will say he did come out on fresh tires there, and I think that factored into him, you know, appearing as fast as he did right away. He stayed there pretty consistently, but what would he have done without the damaged cars? What I wonder. So I don't want to say it was better, but one thing even the TV broadcast didn't talk about was that he came out with fresher tires, and that could be a factor of, yeah, maybe it's not as damaged as we thought, but did it really help, or is it the fresher tires that got him up there, and then he kind of managed it from there? I'm not sure, but something that crossed my mind.
He stayed in the top 10 all day. He got a sixth in the second stage, and he still finished top 10. So, yeah, for taking a hit like that, and the car was
Oh
still
yeah,
relative, that was just amazing in itself.
that
He was lucky once when he hit the rear end. The front tires were skewed, but the front tires didn't make that ricochet bounce off the wall. If he would have hit the front end, then his day would have been done right there. But the front tires didn't make contact with the wall, and that kept him going.
No doubt. Impressive that that car was as good as it was after that hit. I mean, you thought it was destroyed,
Yeah,
um, but he did a good job with it there. Heim did not give Kozlowski enough room, and they made contact, and unfortunately, Heim wrecked. A learning moment there for Corey Heim. He had to give a little bit more space there to Brad.
that's a learning experience, man. So, but that guy's he's going to be in the Cup Series eventually. He's got all the talent in the world, and he's getting that precious seat time. But yeah, he just didn't know that Keselowski was there and piled her into the wall, and it was just unfortunate for that deal there.
They were talking about this, and since you brought it up, I want to talk about it a little bit. Where's Heim gonna go after this? Because how many times is he going to hear, okay, give it one more season in the trucks, give it one more season in the trucks? Well, okay, I've done that 2 or 3 times now. Where does that seat open up? Sawalich is with Joe Gibbs Racing. Jones is with Joe Gibbs Racing. They got that all-star car. Is Joe Gibbs going to put together another car? Does he join a different Xfinity car? Does he go right to the Cup Series? Which car opens up? Because Joe Gibbs Racing is full at the top. 2311 is going through a dispute right now and already has 2 cars and a random third. Where does that third charter come from? Is he blocked by Toyota? Is this another Toyota driver that gets away? And where does he go? Kind of an interesting thought to think about here as the season gets going.
Kind of like a Chandler Smith kind of thing, what we were talking about last year, and saying, which direction is this going to go? Thinking that he's going to go to the top, but if the seats are all filled up there, gee, I don't know. Maybe they'll stick him in Xfinity and move him up a little bit. He's dabbled in that also. Be interesting what he could do in a decent full-time ride in Xfinity if he moves up that direction or keep winning and keep doing what he's doing in the trucks. I mean, he's the dominant one in the truck series right now.
I think, though, I don't know if I would even bother sticking him in Xfinity, but the problem is where's the open seat? There isn't one.
Yeah.
As of right now, maybe something opens up. I don't know, but I don't know if I would bother with Xfinity because you think eventually, they get to a point where they're not learning anything. I mean, how much is after him running the Cup races and doing as well as he's done, other than this minor mistake here? Are you just having him race to race, or are you wanting him to be the best driver that he's going to be? And that, to me, that's putting him in the Cup Series. I wouldn't even bother with Xfinity, but the problem is what's available.
And sponsorship too. That's all. Where's that going? Who's got it? Who's moving here or there? That's all silly season stuff, man. And we're going to start probably hearing a lot about that. It seems like earlier every year we start hearing about the silly season for the next year. So I'm sure he's going to be one of the first ones that's probably going to be talked about, possibly. And we'll see where the movement starts if we decide to start talking about 2026.
I think it was even Dave Moody that started the discussion last week, because he said he wanted to get out in front of it 2 or 3 weeks before it starts really heating up here. So in about another week or two, we're going to be really hot into silly season and talking about this, and that's why they started talking about it early. So interesting thought there as we go along.
It happens every year, earlier all the time.
Blaney won the stage. Barry was over the wall too soon, and Kozlowski also got penalized there. In the final stage, Priest would spin. He's been having a great season to this point, so unfortunate for Priest there. But Blaney would go on and win the race over Hocevar, Hamlin, Logano, Byron, Wallace, Jones, Larson, Reddick, and Bell.
Good for Blaney. He's been fast enough. Did a good job on this race. Well deserved. Hocevar second. Wow. Huh? Getting better all the time. That kid's going to get a victory pretty soon. Denny Hamlin, he was on baby watch. He was on baby watch all day, wondering if he was going to have to take off, right away. What was it? Ryan Truex was waiting in the wings, but Hamlin pulled out a third. With Logano fourth and Byron. No surprise there. So all in all, good race. Nashville, loved the concrete, a little bit consistent there. Good show. Was happy about Nashville, but they can get it back to the fairgrounds. I'd appreciate it even more there, buddy.
Yeah. But the super speedway did well there. I do got to agree with you on that. Hamlin had the fastest lap, 29.663 seconds, or 161.413 miles per hour there. But the Nashville super speedway did quite well, I think. So I'll agree with you there.
And it's a night race too. They actually put it on. It's kind of weird to have a Sunday night race, but it can get so hot down there that it's save the fans from sitting in the hot sun, and put it on a night race. So smart move by them down south there.
I loved it. I loved it. It allowed you to do stuff during the day, get things situated, and then at night, all right, I'm sitting down for I did my work during the day. I'm going to sit down and watch the race. I absolutely loved that on Sunday night.
Yep, it was different, but it was appreciated. Loved it too. Yep.
Also, I finally got around to helping you with Prime after last week. You said you were experiencing some issues there. So we got you set up there. What did you think of the Prime broadcast?
Well, the key is just like you taught me to do this stuff over your phone and not on your Roku at home or whatever. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. Yeah, I appreciate it. And thanks for it, man. I got to sit out at the picnic table at camping and I got to enjoy the race on Prime. And, I like the announcers. It was all good. Very good show. Yeah, I can definitely tell that there's going to be more Prime definitely on the schedule next year. You can see that's going to happen.
I love the Prime broadcast. Like I have been enjoying it, how they present it, who's in the booth. They've done such a great job with it. Also, the pre-race show, I didn't catch so much of that. Heard it's been really good. The post-race show is awesome. It reminds me of watching like Speed Channel back in the day when they would do those post-race shows over on Speed. Um, it's awesome. They even have beer, they're drinking beer, they're having a good time. Yeah, I know some people were saying, oh, they brought up Bubba Wallace who finished sixth. And we had, not the winner. Well, they did eventually bring up Blaney, but Blaney is doing his victory lane celebration. So you have to remember they're waiting for that to finish up, and who knows who else is doing media or has something going on. So they grabbed a top finisher. Yes, it was sixth, it wasn't second, wasn't third, but they also had some of those drivers covered on pit road after the race as well. So bringing up Bubba Wallace was actually a very good interview. And I appreciate Bubba and doing that, and he had a really cool moment talking about fatherhood and things. And then Corey LaJoie's got the burnout rating there, and they're drinking a little bit of beer, and I don't know. I'm really enjoying this Prime thing. I get that it could be a challenge for some. I do think the hardest part is signing in and getting signed up, but once that happens, man, the app, the TV app is so easy to use. You can add it to your watch list. What do we do, Mark? We signed on your phone. You can select how you want to pay. You can even do Google Pay. You go into your Google Play Store if you have Android, and you can cancel the free trial right away. You have Prime now until the end of June. Don't have to worry about it. It's not going to automatically renew. If you have a credit card that you sign up with, you can do the same thing. Cancel it. It'll go through the end of the billing cycle. You don't have to wait to cancel and say, oops, I forgot. To me, it's pretty easy. The hardest part is going to be for maybe the technical challenge people who are struggling is to getting signed up. But after that, it's fairly easy.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. You got four more weeks of this, with Prime. Yeah, what's nice is that they're not on a network. Like if you're on Fox or FS1 and they got to go off the air because there's a show waiting to be put on afterwards. Well, with streaming, there's nothing to push it off, so they can extend the post race, and that's what's going to make it very popular. So, and the post race interviews are a lot better than the beforehand. Anyway, we found out even in the locals when we go out, we go to the pits early and then afterwards. So the ones after are more entertaining.
For sure, there's absolutely no doubt about it.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, let's talk some news before we make our picks and end this thing. In the short track scene, this was pretty cool. Kevin and Keelan Harvick both get wins in the Cars Tour West races that were held at Kevin Harvick's current raceway. So both of the Harvicks, Kevin took race one, Keelan took race two.
Yeah, there was some highlights on that. Saw that on social media and quite entertaining at Kevin Harvick's racetrack out in Bakersfield out there.
Yep.
Kern County.
Yep, Kevin Harvick's current raceway. Yep. Slinger's 7th annual Carl Wagner Memorial Race will now pay either $5,000 to win or $12,000 to win. If it's the 12,000, it'll be 10,000 in cash and 2,000 in Wagner credit if you have a Wagner engine. So the way you can earn 12,000 is if you have that Wagner engine. Otherwise, it's 5,000 to win, which is still incredible. It's Wagner Automotive's 50th anniversary, and I'll tell you what, Carl, Casey, the Wagner, all of the people at Wagner Automotive have done so much for this sport. So pretty cool that was announced for Slinger Super Speedway.
Awesome announcement there, everybody. Good stuff.
Oh, yep. In the truck series, it was announced, talking about Amazon Prime, Corey LaJoie, we just talked about him. He's going to drive for Spire Motorsports in the truck series for 9 of the final 13 races. LaJoie's first race will be this weekend in Michigan. There, he'll be in the 07 truck.
That 07 truck, you and I have talked about that. That truck has been a challenge. I mean, it's fast, but it seems like it's got some. It needs some tweaking to get its performance up a little bit. But 9 out of 13 races, Corey LaJoie, he knows how to get around, and can expect some good finishes out of him.
Absolutely. Xfinity Series news, Andres Perez de Lara will drive for DGM Racing in the number 91 car in the Xfinity race coming up at Mexico City. He just made his Xfinity debut this past weekend as well.
So then go down to a road course down in Mexico City. There's a challenge for you.
Here's the Daniel Dye situation. So they are not going to appeal there. So that was correct there. We talked about the penalty. Connor Zilich, crew chief Marty Lindley, has also been suspended for one race because of 2 loose lugs. The suspension will be deferred from Mexico City in 2 weeks, though, and will be served at Pocono. So Junior Motorsports put in a deferral request, which usually gets approved. So he's going to serve it at Pocono rather than Mexico City for Connor Zilich, which we know how he does on ovals, but he's even better and more experienced on the road courses. So could be a good call there.
And he's also added 2 races for the Cup Series, too. That's just been added recently.
Atlanta and Watkins Glen to his schedule. And remember, he did so well in that Xfinity debut last year at Watkins Glen. So that will definitely be one to watch in the Cup Series for him.
So Atlanta drafting race, and then a road course at Watkins Glen. So, yeah, there's some good experience for him. Expect him to do good at Watkins Glen, man. I could see him getting a good finish there.
Absolutely. Rockingham Speedway is up for sale. So there was some news with Rockingham this past week.
Isn't that wild? You know, you bring it back, and you get a popular race, and you got it back being relevant, and then you sell it right away. And we'll see. You know, they don't even have a certain date, do they? They'd like to get back and have all 3 series run there, but there's still some uncertainty what's going on there at Rockingham. But sure was popular this year.
Yeah. Atlanta Motor Speedway has a new name. It'll be the Echo Park Speedway. Echo Park is an arm of the Speedway Motorsports Echo Park is an arm of the Speedway Motorsports Group owning Smith Family's car dealership business. It's a 7-year deal.
Okay. I bet you a ka-ching on that to get the rights for that, huh?
I love sponsorship, but when it comes to speedways, I don't know if I like changing the whole speedway name, like Atlanta Speed, like maybe it should be Echo Park's Atlanta Speedway or something like that, or I don't know. Remember, it was Lowe's Speedway and Charlotte Motor Speedway, and it didn't bother me back in the day, Lowe's from so much, but this Echo Park Speedway, okay, that's cool, but I don't know. Small gripe for me, I guess. The sponsor, we always talk about how the sponsorship is so important, and here it is, and here I am complaining about it, so maybe I should just stop.
Yeah, stop that. You know, there's Auto Club, that's always been there. And we've had other, just like football and baseball, you can't even keep up with the names of the stadiums because they're all by sponsors. So hard to keep up with that stuff.
Yep, I'll stop there. Yep.
All right, you stop it.
I like it. How about that? I'll end it with
All
okay. I
right.
like it. Good.
you
Good
like
stuff.
you know you like it. All right.
Also, last thing I got, congrats to Tyler and Alexa Reddick on the birth of rookie George Reddick. So that I think May 25th they finally announced that rookie was born.
All right. So another racer that's coming up through the ranks, huh?
Any final thoughts before we get into our picks and then the TV schedule here?
I think we got her all covered here, man. So yeah, let's move on.
All right. Moving on to our picks then here, buddy. I think that I get to go first for both the truck series out at Michigan. I am gonna pick.
I think you're wrong. I get to pick first because I only won the Xfinity race. I didn't win in the trucks. I lost. I lost in the trucks and I lost in the Cup race too with Elliott. Yeah, when Elliott had that front end damage, I couldn't get past you. You finished 11th with Chastain,
You're
and
right.
I got a 15 in the Cup race, and then in the truck race, you had
You
you
know
had
what? You told me wrong. You picked both for both of them, didn't you?
what's that?
For both the trucks and Cup, you picked for both, didn't you? First, but that shouldn't have been right
Huh? No, I think it was right.
because you won with Hemrick finishing fourth, and I had Kyle Busch, who was non-existent all night.
But Kyle Busch was in the truck race, not in the Xfinity race. You're getting your races mixed up here, buddy. So, all right. Anyway,
Okay,
I get to pick first anyway.
I get to go first for the trucks.
All right, go ahead.
But I think you picked first. We'll settle this off air.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Carson Hocevar.
And I'm going to take the other way, and I'm going to take Ross Chastain. So Ross Chastain's back in that 44 truck. So we're gonna give her there. And we know how Hocevar can get around with the 7. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one between us here. For the Cup Series, you get to go first there, buddy.
Hey man, I'm gonna take somebody that the RFK has been doing really well. I think Priest has been one of the faster ones, more consistent. I'm going to take somebody that won in 23 and got a top 10. I'm going to take Chris Buescher in the 17. And I think RFK is finding the speed, and I think they're going to start lifting off and start being relevant here.
That's a very good, I think maybe underrated pick, which maybe it shouldn't be. I like your thinking there. I'm going to go with a Ford as well. They always traditionally do well at Michigan. I expect them to do well again. I'm going to pick a driver that has a 2 in it, and I'm going to go with Austin Cindric. So it's just 2.
There you
go. I kind of had some fun with you picking that one. I was like, I'm going to go with the driver number 2, and you thought I was going somewhere else. So Austin Cindric, I tell you what, on super speedways and tracks the size of Michigan, I think he does super well at. So I'm hoping that's the case here at Michigan this upcoming weekend.
All right. So it's Ford on that one, man. So we'll look forward to that.
It is. Also, I should mention the last time that the trucks were there was 2020. Zane Smith was the winner there, and the defending winner for the Cup Series was Tyler Reddick. So Fords have traditionally dominated there, but Tyler Reddick in a Toyota last year was the winner.
So we'll see how that goes. Toyota seem to be finding their speed right now, along with the rest of them there.
Yep. As far as the TV schedule goes for Michigan, Friday, 12 o'clock will be truck practice. 1 o'clock will be ARCA practice. Don't forget, we also have the ARCA race coming up here at Michigan as well. 2:05 will be ARCA qualifying. And then 4 o'clock on Friday on FS2 will be the ARCA race, 100 laps there in the 70s with 30% chance. Saturday on FS1 at 7:05, truck qualifying. 8:30 on Prime, Cup practice and qualifying. 11 o'clock on Fox. So this will be cool to have the truck race on Fox at 11 o'clock. Stages of 30, 30, 65, 4 sets of tires there. Also in the 70s with 20% chance. On Sunday then, 1 o'clock on Prime, the Cup Series race will get going. Stages of 45, 75, and 80 with 7 sets of tires. 7 in the 70s again with 20% chance. So it seems like we always go to Michigan and weather is about 20, 30% chance, and we're going to be skirting it all day. So hopefully we get it all in this weekend.
Well, normally they run late July, even early part of August. They moved their schedule up here to first part of June. Some early starts, man. 11 o'clock for the truck race on Saturday and a 1 o'clock start on Sunday. So instead of having late starts, now we got some early ones here for Michigan. Looking forward to it.
The exact opposite of Nashville, it seems, but that's okay. Michigan
okay.
no lights, so make it happen there. Looking forward to the Michigan weekend. Also, locally here, that high limit racing that was supposed to be at Beaver Dam on Tuesday, 141. 141 was moved to Thursday, so you got Thursday there. Then you got the World of Outlaws Friday, Saturday, and Sunday up here as well. And the high limit racing is somewhere on tonight as well. That's up toward the west of Chippewa Falls. Red something Speedway.
Is it Red River, right? Menominee? The track is in Menominee. Menominee, yeah. That was already scheduled for Wednesday, so they all went and packed their stuff up, went way over there, and then they come back over here to run Thursday night over here. And they say Kyle Larson will be in the house.
Red Cedar Speedway is what it's called in Menominee.
Red Cedar, yeah.
Yep, 141 tomorrow. So that kind of stinks that we're clashing against them at WIR. But what do you do there? And then full weekend up here at World of Outlaws. Where are you going this weekend?
I'll tell you what, I'm going to do, let's see, we got Kaukauna on Thursday, and then going to run down to Plymouth on Friday night and catch the World of Outlaws down there. The sprints are there. Saturday, I'm definitely going to get a pit pass and do some pit walking and interviews and get some close-ups of these cars and look around down there in Beaver Dam. Sunday is looking pretty brutal for weather for the Sun Prairie deal on Sunday night. The more I see the weather forecast for Sunday, the worse it looks. Might not be a go on Sunday. Also, the Dells has got their Alive for 5 number 2. That's over Saturday night over there at the Dells for a 99 lapper over there. That's worth checking out. And everybody else is racing too. So get out there and support your local track.
Yeah, for sure, man. A lot of racing once again, especially around these parts. So that's cool that World of Outlaws is up here. High Limit Racing is up here. You got the Alive for 5 number 2 at Dells this weekend. And then, of course, tomorrow night out at Wisconsin International Raceway. So week number 3, the Bergstrom Kaukauna Fox River Racing Club Thursday Night Thunder. So it'll be a good show tomorrow night. Remember, 17 and under free this upcoming week, tomorrow night for the Fox River Racing Club. Cannot beat that at all. Get out and support your local racetracks. They need support and need you to keep showing up. So keep on doing that. Enjoy your weekend. Mark, thanks to you for joining me on here. Thanks to Tim with the Corp Racing, Ben and Carrie with Valley Gasket there. We appreciate you guys so much. Appreciate everyone's support, man. It's truly incredible. We just love talking racing. Thanks also to the Liedke boys for joining us. We'll see if Cadyn can pick up that win here in the near future, or Masyn can pick up his second. Either way, it's going to be a great night of racing tomorrow night and this weekend. So appreciate it, everyone. And hey, we'll talk to you soon.
I'll see you at the track.
See ya.
This has been a production of Lore Sports. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.